Hello boys and girls, Busternaut here, and welcome back to another World of Tanks Blitz tank review. Today we are taking a look at the Tier 6 Russian heavy tank, the Kv-1S. So this is one of the two Tier 6 Russian heavy tanks, the other one being the T-150. So is the Kv-1S any good? Well, hell yeah, it is. It is one of the strongest tanks tier for tier in the game, and it used to be very overpowered in the PC version, but it was recently divided into two tanks, and this ridiculous 122mm gun which is on this tank was nerfed, and now it is a bit more balanced on the PC version. But how is it on the mobile version of the game? Well, let's check it out. First of all, let's see where this tank is situated on the Russian Tech tree, and it is right there on the second heavy tank line, which is the upper one. And you can see after the Kv-1S, the tier 7 tank is the IS, and then you have the IS-3, the IS-8, and in the end of the line you get the IS-7. Now let's take a look at the stats of this vehicle. So as a heavy tank, it has 960 hit points. The armor is 75 on the front and 60 on the sides and the rear. The armor is not the strongest one, but you can make it work. The turret armor is 100 on the front, it is very well sloped, and 90 on the sides and the rear. So we are going to take a look at the armor a bit later. This tank weighs 43.97 tons, which is fairly normal. It has 600 horsepower engine, which is really nice because it gets 43 kilometers per hour top speed, 24 degrees per second reverse speed, and 22 degrees per second third reverse speed. So it is not a sluggish tank, although it's heavy, and the armor is not so bad. As you can see, the lower plate is very flat, and that's a weak spot because on the 75mm that flat, everybody is going to penetrate it. The mid plate, it's an auto bounce angle, as you can see, and the upper plate is flat as well, so you must aim either on the lower plate or the upper plate. Don't aim at the mid plate because it is very well angled. The turret has a weak cupola on the top, and the turret cheeks are 100mm and are not sloped, but I don't recommend you shooting the cheeks if you can see the cupola. Now let's take a look at the gun. It has 2.86 rounds per minute rate of fire with 175mm of penetration and 217mm if you are willing to fire APCR, and the alpha damage is 400, which is very good for a tier 6 tank. This is just a ridiculous gun, but it's also balanced because of the slow rate of fire. The accuracy is 0.46, which is not very good once again, but it's not terrible either, and the aiming time is 3.4 seconds. So this gun has very good penetration and excellent damage per shot, but it is balanced because of the poor aiming time and somewhat mediocre accuracy. So for the consumables, I use a repair pack, an adrenaline, and a multi-purpose restoration pack. The ammunition loadout is 21 AP rounds and 5 APCR rounds for the moments when I have to deal with tier 8 heavy tanks, as you will see later on. They are quite expensive, but if you can take a few rounds, it is worth it. For the equipment, I recommend a gun rammer, ventilation, and enhanced gun length drive, although it's not so recommended, and that's why I haven't bought it. But overall, this is a great tank. It is very strong for its tier, and yeah, the crew skills are up to you. I say repairs all the way because it is very important for a heavy tank to have repairs, and I also have this first one, which you can see the effect right there. But basically you must pick your skills depending on your playstyle. And with that being said, let's actually take a look at the battles that I have to show you. Okay, so first game I'm platooned up with my friend Force Bladder, and we are playing our tier 6 heavy tanks, and the matchmaker isn't very generous, as you can see. Pretty bad matchmaking there. Half of the enemy team, well, more than half of the enemy team is tier 8 vehicles, so it is a pretty bad situation, but we will do whatever we can in order to do well in those conditions. And on this map, usually when I'm in heavy tank, I head for the city. I believe most of you do the same. So the gun of this tank really well, it has very good penetration, and this means that tier 8 tanks will not be such a big problem as, for example, if you were driving another heavy tank with smaller penetration. But as you can see here, the Tiger 2 is almost, the whole of him is red, and I don't have the time to spend on aiming, so I reload APCR and go for the IS-3. As you can see, the APCR's penetration is more than enough to go through the IS-3. I can fire AP as well, but I don't have the time to aim. This gun takes 3.4 seconds to aim, and I don't have that much time to spend, because they are going to put shots in me all day long. However, it is possible to penetrate the IS-3 even with less penetration. If you didn't know, the roof of the IS-3's turret is very weak, and it's an auto penetration if you can hit it. If your tank is high enough, you will be able to hit that roof, and it's a weak spot on the IS-3, so just so you know. Now, this shot penetrated because the roof of the Tiger 2 turret is not that strong as well, but it wasn't that... it was a lucky shot. I mean, it didn't have 100% chance to penetrate. And now I'm switching back to AP, and I'll show you that it is possible to fight tier 8s with AP. There we go, an accurate shot in the Tiger 2's cupola. Managed to penetrate. But as I was saying, this gun is pretty good, really. It's not like the gun is bad, so you have chance at least against tier 8. And even if you are in a tough situation, you can fire those APCR rounds, and they will help you to fight your way out. And there we go. Although this gun is not very accurate, I hit the Tiger 2 cupola second time in a row, and that Tiger 2 unfortunately takes out Force Bladder, which is not that good, but I couldn't do anything about it. So yeah, and we managed to win, although we were in a disadvantage. There we go, I managed to snapshot the last remaining enemy. And as you saw, with the help of a few APCR rounds, you can fight your way against tier 8 heavy tanks. First class mastery and Avenger. I was able to do 2400 damage that battle. But let's move on. So this is another tier 8 game, but in this game I'm not shooting at tier 8s that much. And let's see how we can do here. Now, as you have noticed probably, the mobility of this tank is not bad at all. I mean, look at it. It's not a slow tank by any stretch of the imagination. And well, yes, it's not particularly well armored as well, but you can make that armor work, as you saw in the previous game. With side scraping, I managed to bounce some shots there from the enemy team. And you can use your tracks to side scrape. Your side armor is not terrible. And yeah, overall it's not a bad armor. You can trick your enemies, you can go backwards and forwards, you can bounce shots. As you can see there, I bounced that shot with my turret. Especially the turret is really nice. If you go backwards and forwards and don't give your enemies the opportunity to snipe your cupola, you'll be good. And there we can see the enemy tiger too, but I'm behind the rock, so I don't have to engage him. But he comes forwards, and now I can see that he has the stock turret, which is an easy thing to penetrate, because it has 100 mm of armor on the front. It is flat, and we have 175 mm of penetration. But he doesn't pay attention, he just rushes forward, and this is a good thing for me. I mean, I can shoot him all day long. Well, with that big alpha damage, I cannot shoot him a lot of times really before he dies. But anyways, after he YOLOs pointlessly and gets killed, I am free to engage this VK. And I put shot into his engine, which disables it. This is another thing about this gun, because it's a high caliber gun. I mean, it's 122 mm gun. It can do a really nice critical hit damage, because if you hit a module like the engine, it just disables it completely. It doesn't just damage it, because of the high caliber of the gun and the high alpha damage, of course, which is pretty nice as well. And once again, the only bad thing about this gun is the rate of fire and probably the aiming time, but you really don't want to be sitting behind your team and sniping from long range. If you're doing this, you're not playing this tank right. This tank is a heavy tank, I mean, of course, and you have to be fighting in close and medium range. Basically, the cities are the best environment for such a tank. As you saw the previous game, the thing that we were fighting in a city helped me a lot against the tier 8 heavies, and this Pershing is not paying attention to me. I mean, he has all kinds of trouble, and I managed to put the final shot in, and we won the game, basically. At this point they have only Ferdinand and the Jagdpanzer IV left. My team is going to take out the Ferdinand, so I'm going to search for the Jagdpanzer IV. I got spotted, and then he fires and reveals his position, and I'm willing to trade with him. Now I'm cooldown, he cannot penetrate my turret unless he aims at my cheeks, but they are really hard to hit. As you can see, going backwards, and he missed, meaning that he will just bounce off the sloped turret. And once again, an accurate shot in the engine disables it completely. He tries to run away now, but I will not let him. I'll go after him, searching for that delicious Top Gun. And there he is, he comes out. At least he goes down fighting, although he bounces the last shot, and I managed to take him out. So as you saw there, this tank, it's a really nice tank. If it gets stopped here, it is just nothing can stop it. There go an ace tanker, Top Gun, and a sniper. And the way you want to play this tank is close to medium range, just brawling, going into the enemy face, shooting them once and going back in cover to reload, because if they catch you while you are reloading and they rush you, you're not going to do very well because of that long reload time. But this tank has to be balanced in a way, and the long reload time definitely is that way. So if you develop your playstyle, you can do really well in this tank. So I highly recommend getting one of those. And as I said before, if you are a new player, go for this line. If you are wondering which tank to pick, which line to pick, this is the line for you. The Russian heavy tanks. Those tanks will teach you how to play this game properly, and they are like the easy mode of this game, if I can say so, because no matter what tank you're driving, in the end of the day, it depends entirely on how good you are. So with that being said, this is a great tank. I hope you learned new things about it, and yeah, this will be for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If so, leave a like down below. This always helps me a lot. If you're new to the channel and you are interested in the videos I'm doing, go ahead and subscribe. If you have already subscribed, thank you for watching, and good luck on the battlefield.